Attachment is the root of all suffering. Practice detachment and you will never be hurt. Detach yourself from materialistic ideas and goals in your physical life and you'll find freedom. No amount of money or possessions can truly make you happy. True happiness comes from within. Look at your mind and find the answers.
I smoke Cali, no enemy. I won't stop until I get a mirror. See that face, I'm rocking polo. Knew that I could take it, man, I done it on my dolo. Nigga, you was vaping, I was really on my solo. Bitches wanna shake it, I will never hold a holdo. Knew that I would make it, now we really living good. Flying packs, now I fly a spaceship through the hood. No chance, leave no traces, glass valley and the snood. I never fuck her if she's basic, make her tense out the wood. Come up so hasty, faster than the car goes. I was never lazy, they say that I can't blow. How I used to make P, grab and clear the cargo. Told my nigga Casey, I'ma take it far, bro. Only smoke straight green, cause I'm healthy. I swear money was the only thing to help me. I was in the slums, but my mindset was wealthy. And this ain't spice, only smoke the top shelf cheap. Honey's on me, now the honey's on me. It's why I'm popping.
What's up? It's your boy, Inception Mystic.
What's up? It's your boy, Equivocal Inception Mystic, Etheric Intuitive Insight, Kyrie's Curran, Archangel Gabriel, Shepherd Donovan, Libra Sun, Regulus Moon, Aquemini, Verba Rising, Immortal Soul, Enlightened Being, 369 Lorez, Disestablishmentarianist, Starseed, stand up! Here to deliver you deep esoteric knowledge and divine intellectual wisdom and intelligence in a way that can be understood by all ages. Now, I don't care if you're big or small, short or tall. Now, I don't care if you're old or young, boring or fun. Now, I don't care if you walk or run, snow or sun. Let's get to it now. Peace and love to you all. I wish each and every one of you abundance of wealth, health, love, freedom, inspiration, intuition, and prosperity. And I hope you've been getting along well with your task. So, last week, we done week 7, and there was a task to imagine one of your close friends or loved one and to actually visualize yourself making them happy or visualizing them smiling. So, the tasks are getting a bit more technical now, and you're going to have to be using more of your imagination, your spiritual abilities, and you're actually going to have to be focusing and working harder. Because the first 6 weeks I done them straight away, and then from week 6 I had to start like trying again. Practice makes perfect. I had to keep going at it until I was able to accomplish the task. So if you can't do it in the first try, that's cool, it's normal. You don't have to get it in the first try, but this is what we're doing now. Week 8, infinity, coming up to 2024. Week 8, we're going to be talking about thoughts and its results. So I'm going to say this again. If you didn't watch week 7, go back and watch week 7. And if you haven't watched any of my videos, I don't even know what you're doing in week 8, but go back to week 1 and follow the schedule, bro. This is for your own benefit. If you skip weeks, you're only going to skip knowledge and skip stuff that you could use. You can watch the video and choose what you want to use, or you can not watch it and you're not going to know what you don't know, So it's your own choice, but let's go. Week 8. In this part, we're going to be talking about you freely choose what you think, but your thoughts are, yes, governed by immutable law. Is this not a wonderful thought? Is it not wonderful to know that our lives are not subject to variability at all? They are governed by laws. And once we learn these laws of business, laws of the universe, this stability is our opportunity. Because by complying with the law, we can secure the desired effect with invariable precision. It is the law that makes the universe one grand paean of harmony. If it were not for this law, the universe would be a chaos instead of a cosmos. So these universal laws is actually what gives us order. Here then is the secret to the origin of both good and evil. This is all the good and evil there ever was or there ever will be. Let me illustrate. Thought results in actions. If your thought is constructive and harmonious, the result will be good. But if your thought is destructive or inharmonious, the result will be evil. So you can use this manifestation for good or bad, but if you're using it for constructive things, creative things, that's good. If you're using it for destructive things or negative things, that's evil. There's simply one law, one principle, one cause, one source of power, and good and evil are simply words which have been illustrated to indicate the result of our action of compliance or non-compliance with this law. So good and bad are technically two sides of the same coin. They both meet somewhere in the middle. The importance of this is well illustrated with the example of Emerson and Carlyle. Emerson loved the good in his life, and his life was a symphony of peace and harmony. But Carlyle hated the bad, rather, and his life was a record of perpetual discord and inharmony. And somebody said to me, what's the difference between loving the good and hating the bad? I said, bro, are you serious? What do you mean, what's the difference between loving the good and hating the bad? When you're loving the good, you're actually appreciating the good. When you're hating the bad, yes, you may be against what is not good, but you're still not on the side that is good. An enemy of an enemy is not definitely a friend, yo. So here we have two grand men, both of them intent upon achieving the same idea, but one makes use of constructive thought and is therefore in harmony with natural law, but the other makes use of destructive thought and therefore brings upon himself every discord of every kind and character. So it's evident that we're not supposed to hate anything, not even the bad, because hatred is destructive, and we shall find that entertaining destructive thoughts, we are sowing a wind, and all that we're gonna reap is gonna be a fucking whirlwind. So let's go. Week 8, thoughts and its results. If you haven't watched week 7, go back. If you haven't watched week 1, go back. Week 8, let's go. Week 8, thought and its results. Thought contains a vital principle because it's the creative principle of the universe, and by its nature will combine with other similar thoughts. As the one purpose of life is growth, all principle underlying existence must contribute to give it effect. Thought therefore takes form, and the law of growth eventually brings it into manifestation. You can freely choose what you think, but the result of your thought is governed by immutable law. Any line of thought persisted in cannot fail to produce its result in the character, health, and circumstances of the individual. Methods whereby we can substitute habits of constructive thinking for those which we have found to produce only undesirable effects are therefore of primary importance. We must substitute our negative habits for good ones. We all know this is by no means easy. Mental habits are difficult to control, but this series here is what's helping you to control your own mental habits. But it can be done in a way. To do it is to begin at once to substitute constructive thought for destructive thought. So every time you see a negative thought pop up, you got to replace it with your positive affirmation. Form the habit of analyzing every thought. If it is necessary, if its manifestation in the objective will be a benefit, not only to yourself, but to all who it may affect in a way, keep it, treasure it. It is of value and it is in tune with the infinite. It will grow and it will develop and it will produce fruit of 100-fold. On the other hand, it will be well for you to know this quotation from George Matthew Adams. Learn to keep the door shut. Keep out of your mind, out of your office, and out of your world every element that seeks admittance with no definite helpful end in view. So anyone wasting your time or anything that pops up in your life and you can't see any helpful or constructive way it can serve you, you fucking get rid of it, bro. If it's not going to help you, then it's only harming you. If your thought has been critical or destructive, if it has resulted in condition of discord or inharmony in your environment, it may be necessary for you to cultivate a new mental attitude which will be conducive to constructive thought instead. The imagination will be found to be of great assistance in this direction. The cultivation of the imagination leads to the development of the ideal out of which your future will emerge. The imagination gathers up the material by which the mind weaves the fabric in which your future is going to be clothed. Imagination is the light by which we can penetrate new worlds of thought and experience. Imagination is the mighty instrument by which every discoverer, every inventor opened the way from precedent to experience. Precedent said it cannot be done. But experience replied, it is done. Imagination is a plastic power, molding the things of sense into new forms and new ideals. Imagination is a constructive form of thought which must precede every constructive form of action. A builder cannot build any structure of any kind until he has first received the plans from the architect, and the architect must get them from his imagination. So you're seeing the power here. The captain of industry cannot build a giant corporation unless he first has made the calculations of hundreds of smaller corporations, thousands of employees, and utilized millions of capital until he has created the work in his imagination first. Objects in the material world are like clay in the potter's hand. It's the mastermind that the real things are created, and it's the use of imagination that the work is done. In order to cultivate the imagination, it must be exercised. Exercise is necessary to cultivate a mental muscle just as well as a physical muscle. It must be supplied with nourishment or it cannot grow. Do not confuse imagination with fancy or fantasy, or that form of daydreaming in which some people like to indulge. Daydreaming is a form of mental dissipation which may lead to mental disaster. Constructive imagination means mental labor, hard work. By some, it's considered the hardest kind of labor, but if so, it yields the greatest returns. For all the great things in life have come to men and women who have the capacity to think, to imagine, and to make their dreams come true. When you have become thoroughly conscious of the fact that mind is the only creative principle that is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, and that you can consciously come into harmony with this omnipotence through your power of thought, you will have taken a long step in the right direction. The next step is to place yourself in position to receive these power. As it's omnipresent, it must be within you at all times. We know that this is so because we know that all power is from within, but it must be developed, unfolded, cultivated. In order to do this, we must be receptive, and this receptivity is acquired just as physical strength is gained by exercise. The law of attraction will certainly and definitely bring you to the conditions, environment, and experiences in life corresponding with your habitual, characteristic, predominant mental attitude. Not what you think once in a while when you're at church or when you've just read a good book, but your predominant attitude is what counts. You can't entertain weak, harmful, negative, bad, shitty thoughts for 10 hours a day and expect to bring about a beautiful, strong, and harmonious conditions by only 10 minutes of strong, positive, creative thought and meditation. You have to look at what you're doing the majority of the time. Real power comes from within. All power that anyone can possibly use is within man. It's only waiting to be brought out by visibility, by his first recognizing it and then affirming it as his, working it into his consciousness until he becomes one with it. People say that they desire an abundant life, and so they do. But so many interpret this to mean that if they will exercise their muscles or breathe scientifically or eat certain foods in certain ways, drink so many glasses of water each day at a certain temperature, stay out of the wind, they will attain the abundant life they've seen. The result of such methods is but indifferent. However, when a man awakes to the truth and affirms his oneness with all life, he finds that he takes on the clear eye, the elastic step, the vigor of youth. He finds that he has discovered the source of all power. All mistakes are but the mistakes of ignorance. Knowledge, gaining, and consequent power is what determines growth and evolution. The recognition and demonstration of knowledge is what constitutes power. And this power is spiritual power. And this spiritual power is a power which lies at the heart of all things. It is the soul of the universe. This knowledge is the result of a man's ability to think. Thought is therefore the germ of a man's conscious evolution. When a man ceases to advance in his thoughts and ideas, his forces immediately begin to disintegrate, and his countenance gradually registers these changing conditions. Successful men make it their business to hold ideas of the conditions which they wish to realize. They constantly hold in mind the next step necessary to the ideal for which they are striving. Thoughts are the materials with which they build, and imagination is their mental workshop. Mind is the ever-moving force with which they secure the persons and circumstances necessary to build the success structure, and imagination is the matrix in which all great things are fashioned. If you've been faithful for your idea, you'll hear the call when these circumstances are ready. You'll see signs showing up. The right people with the right things will come at the right place in the right time, ready to materialize your plans, and results will correspond in the exact ratio of your fidelity to your idea. The idea steadily held is what predetermines and attracts the necessary conditions for its fulfillment. It is thus that you may weave a garment of spirit and power into the web of your entire existence. It is thus you may lead a charmed life and be forever protected from all harm. It is thus that you may become a positive force whereby conditions of opulence and harmony may be attracted to you. This is a leaven which is gradually permeating the general consciousness and is largely responsible for the conditions of unrest which are evident everywhere. So last week, I called you to create a mental image. I want you to return to the same seat, same spot as usual. You brought it from the invisible to the visible. This week, I want you to take an object and follow it back to its true source origin. See of what it really consists. If you do this, you'll develop imagination. I want you to dissect. You'll develop insight, imagination, perception, and sagacity, discernment. These come not by the superficial observation of the multitude, but by a keen, analytical observer with his third eye open, which sees below and beyond the veil and the surface, below the surface and beyond the veil. It is the few who know that the things which they see are only the effects and understand the causes by which these things were brought into the existence. So I want you to take the same position as before and visualize a battleship. See the grim monster floating on the surface of the water. There appears to be no life anywhere about. It's all silence. You know that by far the largest part of the vessel is underwater. It's out of sight. You know that the ship is as large and as heavy as a 20-story skyscraper. You know that there are hundreds of men ready to spring their appointed task and ready to spring up to it instantly. You know that every department is in charge of able, trained and skilled officials who have proven themselves competent to take charge of this marvelous piece of mechanism. You know that although it lies apparently oblivious to everything else, it has its eyes which see everything for miles around, and nothing is permitted to escape its watchful vision. You know that while it appears quiet, submissive and innocent, it's prepared to hold and hurl a whole steel projectile weighing thousands of pounds at an enemy many miles away. This and much more you can bring into mind with comparatively no effort whatsoever. You just imagine that and you just see the picture in your mind. But how did the battleship come to be where it is? How did it come into existence in the first place? Where did it come from? How was it invented? What parts does it consist of? All of this you want to know if you're a careful observer. So now, follow the great steel plates through the foundries and see the thousands of men employed in their production. Go further back, see the ore as it comes from the mine. See it loaded onto the barges or cars. See it melted and properly treated into its shape. Go back still further and see the architect and the engineers who planned the vessel and see it falling into its mold. Let the thought carry you back still further in order to determine why did they plan this vessel? Why did they even create this in the first place? You will see that you're now so far back that the ship, the vessel, is now something intangible. It no longer exists. At this point you have reached, it is now only a thought existing in the brain of the architect. And this is where we realize all inventions and ideas come first from the mind and then they are materialized. But where did the order come? Why did he want to plan the vessel? Probably from some secretary but probably this vessel was planned long before the secretary was even thought of, before the thought of war was even conceived, and that the Congress had to pass a bill appropriating the money. Possibly there was opposition, possibly there was people who went against the idea, speeches for or against the bill. Who do these congressmen represent? They represent you and me. So our thoughts and whether we're going to really bring it into existence, it's like the conversation between the speeches for and against the bill. They represent us. So our line of thought begins with the battleship, and it ends with ourselves. And we find that in the last analysis that our own thought is responsible for this and many other things of which we think. And a little further reflection will develop the most important fact of all that there is. Someone had not discovered the law by which the tremendous mass of steel and iron could be made to float upon water. If someone had never discovered that law, instead of it just sinking, the battleship could not have come into existence at all. Until that person discovered the law by which the steel and iron could be made to float upon the water instead of immediately going to the bottom, the battleship couldn't have been existed. The battleship ends with ourselves, and we find in the last analysis of our own thought, it's responsible for this and many other things of which we seldom think. And a little further reflection will develop the most important fact of all that is. If somebody had not discovered the law by which this tremendous mass of steel and iron could be made to float upon the water instead of immediately going to the bottom, the battleship could not have come into existence at all. And this law is that the specific gravity of any substance is the weight of any volume of it compared with an equal volume of water. The discovery of this law revolutionized every kind of ocean travel, commerce, and warfare, and it made the existence of the battleship possible. You'll find the exercises like this are invaluable, exercises of this kind. When the thought has been trained to look below and beyond the surface, everything, and I say everything, takes on a whole new different appearance. The insignificant becomes significant. The uninteresting becomes interesting. The things that we supposed to be of no importance are now seen to be the only real vital things in existence. So I want to do that for this week. Cultivate your own imagination. And now we're going to get to the questions. What is the imagination? A form of constructive thought, the light by which we penetrate new worlds of thought and experience, the mind instrument by which every inventor or discoverer opened a way from precedent to experience. Perception precedes reality. What is the result of imagination? The cultivation of the imagination leads to the development of the ideal out of which your future will emerge. How may it be cultivated? By exercise. It must be supplied with nourishment or it cannot live. Just as our physical muscles demand exercise, so do your mental muscles. How does imagination differ from daydreaming? Daydreaming is a form of mental dissipation, while imagination is a form of constructive thought which must precede every constructive action, and it is labor. What are mistakes? Mistakes are the result of ignorance. What is knowledge? Knowledge is the result of a man's ability to think. What is the power with which successful men build? Mind is the ever-moving force with which they secure the persons and circumstances necessary to complete their plans. So what predetermines the result? The ideal held steadily in mind attracts the necessary conditions for its fulfillment. What is the result of a keen analytical observation? The development of imagination, insight, intuition, perception, sagacity, discernment. What do these lead to? Opulence and harmony. Those who have finished by making all others think with them have usually been those who began by daring to think for themselves. So in week 9, we're going to be teaching you about affirmations. My mind, body, and life is in the best condition possible. I'm as perspicacious and healthy as ever. I'm worthy of the wealth I desire. There are no limits to what I can and will achieve. I'm grateful for my money. Wealth and abundance flow to me in expected and unexpected ways frequently. I can be what I will to be. So I'm whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Next week, we're going to be going over affirmations and how you can use one repeated statement to bring about emotions, feelings, thoughts at any point in time, any point of struggle you need to. You can call upon this affirmation. So in week 9, we're going to be talking about affirmations. But I just want to congratulate you for making it through the first section of this course, man, because if you really come to the end of week 8, we're 1/3 through this thing. So you've been going hard for probably like 2 months by now, and I'm proud of you really, because each week does get harder, and even some of the video on its own, the knowledge is hard to digest. So I want you guys to know, if you did make it this far, I'm proud of you and congratulations. You are a powerful spirit, and if you come this far, have no doubt that you'll be able to make it to the end. It gets harder, yes, but it gets easier in a way, because the tasks get harder, but you get stronger, you get smarter, so you are able to tackle more challenging things because you are building yourself up and becoming the best you can be. So I want you to know, if you can't do any task straight away, don't get discouraged. Keep practicing. Even if you forget or you want to go back and recap on some old weeks, you can, But I just wanted to let you know you've come far, you've done a good job. We're 1/3 through this thing. So you're going to be able to use this shit in your real life by now. You should be manifesting what you want, and you should at least be able to have some sort of mental clarity and understand how this meditation, visualizing, and seeing what you want to appear in your life. We all have our own magnetic field, and you have to start understanding whatever you're thinking of the most, the pictures you see the most in your mind, is the options to which your day is usually going to happen. So whatever you're repeating to see the most in your mind, that's usually what you're going to get. So I'm going to say this now. Peace and love to you all. I love each and every single one of you unconditionally. I wish you the best in life. I honestly, deeply, gratefully, and truly wish all and each and every one of you, every single one of you, authentic abundance of wealth, abundance of health, abundance of love, abundance of inspiration, abundance of intuition, abundance of prosperity, abundance of success, abundance of joy, abundance of fulfillment, abundance of satisfaction, and spiritual sovereignty upon your entire bloodline of ancestors and descendants. You are divinely protected. So I'm going to say this to you. Thank you for watching my videos. Day by day and everywhere, I'm getting better and better, and I can see my unmatched perspicacity coupled with sheer indefatigability makes me a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor. I know the right people with the right things will come at the right place in the right time. Solutions find me. I don't have to find them. I know I am a spiritual being. Because I know I'm a spiritual being, I'm able to perceive beyond all boundaries of time and space. I recognize my consciousness is present with all that there is, all that there ever was, and with all that there ever will be. It is in my nature as a human being to be able to perceive and thus to know all there is to know. Everywhere at all times, I seek to know, and that's to evolve, to further my own personal growth, and to assist others in their growth. I direct my attention to a chosen point of existence. I observe what is there. I record what I find. And I call my power back from every person, place, thing, entity, dimension, and energy to me right now. I cast out all devils with the Spirit of God. My Father is greater than I. It's normal for me to receive my desires within 24 hours. And I'm going to say this. Do you not believe that I am the Father and the Father in me? The words that I speak to you, I do not speak of my own authority, but the Father who dwells in me does the work. For in him we live and move and exist. As some of you own poets have said, we are his offspring. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. Peace.